Hey everyone, it's Shanna with the Yoga Venture, and today I have a strong flow for you that works on your core. We will begin by warming up with the breath of fire. You'll inhale through your nose, filling all the way up. Exhale, empty all the way out. Then inhale, fill up halfway. Use your belly to push the air out through your nose in 20 quick, sharp bursts. It sounds like you'll do 20 of those and then start again with the inhale and exhale. Together we inhale, fill all the way up. Exhale, let it out. Inhale, halfway, fill up. And push it out, 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 out. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Recover breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale halfway. And press the air. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Recover. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale halfway. And exhale, 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 out, 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 out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now it's time to start moving. Begin by inhaling and lifting your chest, lifting your head, looking up to the ceiling. Exhale, rounding the spine and curling everything in. Inhale, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, curl and round it out. Inhale, lift, look up. Exhale, round it out. Return back to your neutral position. Inhale, reach the left arm up and over. Take a side bend, looking up and under your arm. Try to get your elbow really straight. Keep both your sit bones down on the mat as you take this big stretch. Inhale, lift back over. Exhale, fold to the opposite side. Again, peek up under your arm to look to the ceiling. Try to lengthen through your side body. Sit bones stay down. Reach and stretch. Inhale, lift yourself back to center. Now we'll move on to our hands and knees. We'll start some warm up for our wrists because we're going to be doing a lot of plank work. On all fours with your belly lifted, start to prop up onto your fingertips and then release back down to your palms. Up and down, and up and down, and lift and lower, and lift and lower. And 5, 4, 3, keep your shoulders in line with your wrists. 2, and 1. Now shift your weight forward and backward, forward and backward. Keep your belly lifted and in. Don't mind my little boy who's making an appearance in the camera every now and then. Shift forward and backward. Shift back to neutral. Turn the fingers out to the side and then begin to rock side to side, shifting your weight right and left. Keep pulling the belly in and closing the ribs off, making sure that your shoulders stay aligned with your wrists so you're getting a nice wrist warm up. Turn your hands back to the front, then lift just the heel of your hand off, keeping your knuckles down and lower. Lift and lower. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and 10. He's really liking the camera today. Sorry about that. All right, scapula, protraction, retraction. Sink the chest down and then push it back up and in. Sink, retract, press and round. Sink, and press. So try to isolate from your scapula. Keep your belly lifted the whole time, but drop the chest down and then push it up and in so you're rounding the upper back. Sink and press. Sink and press. Really trying to hit that upper back and get the scapula to warm up and to do these two different actions of protraction and retraction. Stay in protraction, walk your hands forward to the top of the mat. Exhale, touch your forehead down to the mat. Inhale, lift your head up. Exhale, fold, head taps down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forehead to mat. Inhale up. Keep your belly and your ribs hugged in this whole time. Now hold it down in your puppy pose. Really pushing up through your shoulder blades for this one and closing the ribs off. Turn your right palm to the ceiling. Turn your head to the left, look under your arm. Keep pulling in through your ribs to get a stretch on your lats. Hips stay high, belly stays pulled in. Roll back onto your flat hand. Then do the opposite. Turn the left palm up, look under the right arm. Keep pulling the ribs in, stretching out through the side of your body and in your shoulders and your chest as well. Turn that palm back down to the floor, look up, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Drop your knees back a little bit so you can reach forward into a hands and knees plank. Really push up through your shoulder blades and tuck your pelvis under. Pull up through your front body, hold it. Now begin to shift your weight, lifting one hand and then the other, walking out this plank position. Really keep that belly up, the tailbone under. Try not to crease your hips. Now walk your hands forward up to the top of the mat. Then walk them back to your plank pose. Walk forward out to the top of the mat. Really round the scapula. And then push with your hands to come back to your plank. Forward, walk it out. Walk it back. Push with your shoulders and your hands to come back. Tuck the tailbone. Hold it on your hands and knees plank again. Tuck your toes, lift all the way up to a full plank. Again, really finding the underneath of your tailbone, but the pressing up or the protraction through your scapula. Same thing, walk it out. If this ever gets too hard, you're welcome to drop down to your knees again. Walking side to side, and then begin to walk up to the front of the mat. Round your scapula, protract, and then push with your shoulders to come back to a plank. Walk it forward. Tuck the pelvis, push it back up, plank. Walk it forward. Tuck everything in, hold it there, protract the shoulder blades, tuck the tailbone under, and then walk yourself back up to your plank position. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift your heart up to an up dog. Exhale, hips go up, find a down dog. In down dog, press all your knuckles down into the floor. Pull your rib cage closed and press your head and chest down towards the floor. Keep the spine long, and then if you can, work to straighten the back of the legs and to drop the heels to the floor. But most importantly, it's to get that long line through the spine first. Round through your spine to come to a plank pose. Drop your right knee to the mat, lift it back up, left. Tap right and stretch, and left and stretch. Make sure you're still in a good plank position. Squeezing through your glutes and tucking your pelvis under, pressing up through your shoulder blades as you tap one knee and then the other knee to the mat. Hips press back, find your down dog again. Take a breath. Opening through your chest and shoulders and lengthening the legs if possible. Roll through your spine back to your plank pose, holding in plank for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop your knees down, press your hips back, child's pose. Head down onto the mat, reaching the arms forward, rounding through your lower back and just releasing out through your hips and spine. Take some big breaths to recover here. Round back up onto all fours, hands and knees. Re-engage your front body. Tuck your toes, lift back up to a plank. Or you can do a modified hands and knees plank. Lift your left arm up. Try not to shift too far over. Keep your shoulders and hips square. Left hand goes down, right hand lifts up. Again, try not to shift too much. And lower down, shift the weight forward. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, roll those shoulders back. Exhale, down dog. Press and open the chest. Getting a nice release for your shoulders that are doing a lot of work in all of these planks. Look forward. Drop down onto your knees once again, but then sit back over your heels so you're sitting up nice and tall. Begin to take some shoulder rolls around to the ears and then back. Change directions and roll forward, down, and around. Just releasing out a little bit from all the work that we've been doing. And we've got more to do here. Coming back onto the hands and knees, tuck your toes, lift back up to your plank or stay in a hands and knees plank. Lift your right foot off the mat just a little bit off so your hips and shoulders stay square. Keep pulling the belly in and tucking the tailbone under. Tap the foot back down, lift the left foot off. Really work to lengthen the back leg that's lifted. And tap it back down, shift forward, exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, push the hips up and back. Find your down dog. Take a breath. Push open those shoulders again. Closing off the ribs. Roll through your spine back to your plank position. You can take one of two options. You can drop down onto your knee, extend the right leg out, lift the left arm up, keep pulling the belly in, and hold it out in that bird dog. Or you can do a full bird dog and come onto plank, extend the right leg up, the left arm up, and balance there in your plank pose. Keep tucking the pelvis, and then tap it down. Change sides wherever you're at. Lift the left leg, float the right up. Try to balance. You can be wiggly. I'm a little wiggly on this side. That's okay. Just fight to try to keep square. Lower back down. Exhale down to your chaturanga. Inhale, chest and heart up. Exhale, hips go high, down dog. Again, open up through the chest. Keep pulling the rib cage closed as you press your head and your shoulders down towards the floor. Roll through your spine to drop down onto your knees. Sit back onto your heels once again. And this time take some wrist circles. Planks can be really intense on your wrists. Change your direction. Just let them release out. And just give them a good shake. You can kind of do a little doggy paddle here. Let everything go. Reach forward. And now we need two blocks placed down on their lowest level, shoulder distance apart. Your hands will go onto the blocks. You can stay in a hands and knees plank and do this same thing, or you can lift up to your full plank. We'll walk the hands on and off the blocks. Left hand goes to the middle of the blocks, right hand goes off, left hand goes onto the blocks, back to the middle, right hand on the block, left hand on the block. Switch, right hand to the middle, left hand off, right hand to the block, right hand to the center, left to the block, right to the block, left to center, right off, left on, center, block, block, center, off, on. And you just keep moving in this way. And then you can try to speed things up, moving at your own pace and tempo, working to maintain the alignment in your plank, tucking the hips under, pulling the belly up, and pushing up through your shoulder blades as you tap and come on and off those blocks. Again, moving at the speed that you need to move. Come back to neutral. Then with your hands on the blocks, you'll do your vinyasa, chaturanga, up dog to down dog. Take some breaths, recover. This is a lot of work for your upper body today. We focus a lot on the lower body. We need some work through our core. It's very important to get that core supported. It will really help the whole body and will take so much pain out of your lower back. Look forward, walk your feet up to your hands, and then move the blocks up to their highest level. Place your hands onto the blocks, shift your weight so that your shoulders are moving over your hands or even past. Pull your belly button in, lift the right hip up so your foot floats, and then tap it to the block. Lift the left hip, reach it forward, tap it to the block, set it down. So before you move it forward, lift the hip so the foot floats, and then do the tap. Lift, tap, back to center and down. Lift, tap, center, down. Left, lifts, taps, and set it back down. Right, up, tap, and down. Left, up, tap, and down. Stand on both feet and move your blocks down a level if you can, and maintain that straightness in your legs as much as you can. Again, pull up through your belly, round through your shoulders. Same thing, but we're just down a level now. Lift the hip, tap, back, and down. Lift, tap, back, and down. Keep pushing up through your shoulder blades, rounding through your back, and try to shift your weight over your hands. So most of the weight is going into your hands to allow room for your foot to lift and slide forward to tap to the block. One more time, lift, tap, and down with the right, left, lift, tap, and down. And now move the blocks down one more level if you can, so they're all the way flat. Come back to that same position, pushing up, rounding through the shoulder blades. Then lift, tap, and down. Right foot, left foot. If you can't go down this far and do the same thing, just keep it at the lowest level you can. So maybe the lowest level is on the second level. Maybe having the blocks on the highest level is as far as you can get right now, and that's okay. Just see, at least try dropping down and see where you're at. And find that compression strength in your belly as you pull the leg forward. Take a forward fold, releasing down for just a moment. And then try it without any blocks at all. Hands flat onto the floor. Push forward, weight over onto your hands. And then do the lifting, the tapping, and the coming back. Your knees can bend if they need to. But you want to try to keep them as straight as possible. And if that's not happening, then take one of the modifications using the block at the lowest level that you possibly can. Your weight should shift over your hands, so you're really having to hold yourself up with your upper body, and you're trying to pull your belly up and in. Now bend your knees, take a forward fold, shake out your shoulders, let your head kind of move. And then move yourself all the way back to the back of your mat. You can walk backwards to find the back of your mat and grab your blocks again, placing them on level 2. We are going to take a similar thing, but we're going to move it into some shifting and trying to get our upper body to lift enough to get our lower body to slide forward. So you'll press your weight forward into your blocks. You'll try to lift up onto your tippy toes and get your hips to float just enough that you could step your feet forward in between the blocks. So you're floating, lifting, and then sliding the feet in between. This is a really difficult skill. I actually have been working on this for a long time, and when I filmed this, I wasn't super great at it, but it's getting better and better with practice. So even if you're not really able to lift the feet off the floor at all, you can step one foot in and the other foot in, but the action of trying to pull up through your core and get that float through your hips is going to build this strength in your core. And the more that you can reach forward and press out of the blocks with your hands, the more float you're going to get. And when you've made your way all the way back to the back of your mat, you can move the blocks off to the side. Find that deep forward fold, creasing your belly to your thighs. Bend the knees if you need to. Plant the hands, lift the hips, tilt forward, and try to float the feet off the floor to tap the back of your wrists. You can try it a few times. If it doesn't work, you're welcome to take the blocks back and to give it a go with the blocks. And again, don't feel bad. It takes me a really long time to be able to float. So push the weight forward, push out of the floor, lift the hips. Try to stack the hips and the shoulders as you float up. Push out of the floor to get the legs up. When we come to the top of the mat, find your squat. If you need to sit on a block in your squat, you're welcome to do that. Push the elbows into the knees, open up your hips, and take some wrist circles, rolling those wrists out. We've done a lot of work on them today. Sit your bum back to come all the way down on the mat. Extend your legs out in front of you. Grab both of your blocks again. Place them about midway between your hips and your knees, and then take some wrist circles again. Now we need to activate the front of the body. So you're going to pull your quads up and you're going to send your hips up by pressing into the blocks to lift the hips up. Lean forward. Really think about rounding your back and engaging your front body to push into the blocks and lift your hips up and back as high as they can. Send your knees forward and press up to a tabletop. Drop the hips back and up and forward, swinging back and forth. As you go back, try not to let the hips touch the floor, but send them up and back and then push forward with your knees to come to a tabletop. Press it back, hips go high, sink it forward, press up, tabletop, push back, lift the hips up, and then slowly lower yourself all the way back down. Interlace your fingers, take some figure eights with your wrists, just releasing them out, give it a good shake. We will do this same sort of thing again, really leaning forward, engaging the front body, pushing with the arms to lift the hips up and back. Squeeze your thighs up into your belly and try to float your feet off the floor. Keep pressing the hips up as high as you can, pushing through your arms, rounding your back and engaging your front body. If your feet don't come off, that's okay. Lower yourself back down, take a little breather. You can roll out your wrists again. This is really deep core work. So if your legs don't come off the floor in these, but you feel that engagement of your body, especially that front body, that's just what we want to have happen, and the lift will come with time. Take a little breather, sit back over your heels. Then same idea, you're going to push into the blocks, round your back, pull your belly in, engage your quads, and leave the top of your feet on the floor this time as you press up. And then lower back down. We'll take this up a notch. If these next steps don't happen for you, you can continue and do that first step. Push up, same thing, and then try to tuck your right leg up in towards your bum. Set the foot back down, tuck the left leg, squeezing your thigh into your belly. Then set the left leg down and come all the way back down to sit over your heels. We'll do one more of these, trying to lift all the way off, both your feet lifting. Again, if this doesn't happen for you today, you can feel free to do the switching, one foot and then the other foot, or leaving both feet down. Round your spine, press into the blocks, send the hips up and back by engaging your belly. Shift your weight forward and see if you can float the feet off the floor and hold it there, really pulling up and in. And then release down, sit back over your heels. Hands come down to your thighs. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, round really gently here. Inhale, slight arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, round. Not huge movement, just to release out the spine a little bit. And let's return to neutral. Now we'll try those same exercises without the blocks. If it wasn't working with the blocks and it was really hard, you can keep the blocks and just do it again. But this time, if you want to move on with me, plant your hands down, press up, round your body to pull the knees up into the chest. Make sure your weight is shifted over your hands, and then lower back down. We'll move on to lifting one foot at a time. Again, press firmly into the mat. Pull the belly up, round the spine. Tuck the right leg in. Keep lifting the hips up as high as you can. Set it down, left leg up and in. And set it down. And then drop down to sit back over your heels. If you need to take breaks in between this or rest while I'm doing one of these exercises, you can do that. And then work up to doing the whole class at a later date. It's okay to have to take some time. This is really hard work. All right, we're gonna see if we can float both of our feet. We will start onto our toes. It's much easier to lift up off of the toes. So we're gonna start on the toes. Place the hands down, same thing. Engage your belly, activate your front body, push your shoulder blades up, reach forward and float the feet off, really lifting, trying to tug them into your chest and get your hips up as high as you can. It's really hard, keep breathing, and when you're ready, release down. Sit back up over your heels. Now just press your palms together and push into one side, the right hand, and then push over to the left hand. Release everything out. Give your wrists some love and some rest time. I know this class is really wrist intensive, so you can just take it at your own pace. If they're hurting a lot, take longer breaks in between things or skip certain exercises to give them more of a break. Take both of your blocks and come down to sit onto your bum in a straddle position. One of the blocks will go in between your legs, the other will go on the outside of your legs. Lean your chest forward, forward, forward. Round your spine, tuck your tailbone under. Then press into your hands to lift your hips up and back. Keep your feet down on the floor. Keep trying to round your upper body to protract, and then slowly slide your bum back down to the floor. Switch the blocks to the other leg. Round forward, press into your shoulder blades as you lift the hips and send them up and back by pulling your belly button in, and then release back down. Switch the blocks again to your first leg. Same thing, round the spine, really curl the upper back, and you'll really engage your quads and your hip flexors. They may cramp as you do this, that's completely normal. Round forward, push into your hands. See if you can push so much that you can this time lift your feet up off the floor. Then set your feet down and then your bum down. If you're cramping, shake out your legs. Totally normal to cramp. You are engaging and really, really working those quad muscles and your hip flexor muscles. Switch sides, push up, hold it. Open the legs, point your toes, and come back down. If your feet did not come off the mat, no big deal. Again, you are still really working those muscles, even just to lift your hips up and off. And just let your hips relax for a second. You can massage out your thighs if you need to. Move the blocks. We can try this without blocks, or again, you can use the blocks one more time. Round forward, press into the shoulder blades. Lift the hips, pushing up first just to find that lift through the hips. And then lower yourself back down, switch sides to the opposite leg, round forward. Protract your shoulders, lift your belly, engage to push and come up. Feet stay down, hips go high, lower yourself back down. Roll out those legs, opening and closing, maybe giving them a little bit of a massage. This time we're gonna try to lift the legs off. Plant the hands, one inside the leg, one outside. Round the back, pull the belly in, hips go up, feet lift off, hold it there. They may not get high, that's okay. Keep pushing, try to lift the hips, lower down, shake it out. Ooh, we're getting good work today. Plant your hands up to the other leg, round your spine, point your toes, push into the floor to lift your hips, float your legs, hold it there. Hovering them as much as you can. And release down. Cross your legs, flap them out. Oh, lots of work there. Then plant your feet and drop your knees over right and left. Again, just trying to release out through those hip flexors and quads a little bit. Cross your legs to come sit down in a comfortable seated position. And cross your ankles, pulling your knees into your chest as much as you can, using your core muscles to keep your knees hugging into your chest as much as you possibly can. Hugging, hugging, hugging them in. Take your blocks, place them on the side of your body underneath your shoulders, and you'll keep your feet down, but push your hips up and back as you round through your spine to lift up again. Same thing we've been working on, except now our legs are crossed. Sit yourself back down. You can take a hug on your knees. Try to decrease the space between your thighs and your belly by pulling in on those two areas, hugging them together. See if you can float your feet off this time as you lift up, hovering there, and then lowering back down. Taking a little breather, a little rest, open your knees. We will set this up one more time. And we're going to try to transition back from this pose. So hug your knees into your chest again. Engage your belly button, engage your front body to squeeze your chest and your thighs together. Plant your hands onto your blocks. Push out of the floor. Try to float the feet and hold it up. And then step one foot back and the other foot back to find a plank. In your plank pose, drop the tailbone down, tuck the pelvis. You'll pull your right knee to your chest, then your left knee. In and in. Try not to change your back at all, but get your hip flexors to pull your knees up and into your chest. Can your thighs touch your chest as you pull them in? Tapping back to plank. Try not to pike through your hips. Keep pushing them down, rounding through your upper back. Now push back, lift your hips, and find a down dog. Your hands will still be on your blocks. Bend your right knee. Straighten it, then bend your left knee. And push it back straight. Look forward, step and cross your ankles underneath you to come sit down on your bum. Sitting up nice and tall, then rounding and tucking your pelvis. Extend your arms forward. Continue to round yourself down to the floor. Extend your arms over your head. Arms go up, chin tucks to chest as you roll yourself up to a seated position. Again, starting from the pelvis. Sacrum goes down, lower back, middle back, upper back, arms overhead. Round back up, chin to chest, reaching your arms forward to sit up. Find that hollow body as you roll down piece by piece. Your lower back should be flat. And then hollow body as you round yourself back up and find a straight line. Tuck and round, lower, arms extend, belly stays pulled in. Round yourself back up and sit up tall. Begin just by a slight tuck in your pelvis and come onto the tops of your toes. Lift your right leg up, parallel, set it down. Lift your left leg up, parallel, set it down. Keep your back long. Try to lift both legs up parallel. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Lengthen through your spine. See if you can extend the legs up as you reach your arms forward. Try to decrease the space between your thighs and your belly. Come back down to a parallel. Keep squeezing. Then tap the toes down. Lift back to parallel. Tap and lift. Toe tap. Lift to parallel. Don't lose your body. Keep lifting up, reaching your hands forward. Can you extend the legs one more time? Make the smallest V possible by squeezing your upper and lower body together. And release, cross your ankles, press your hands into your knees, reach your chest forward, long spine, and rock side to side. Taking a little stretch to release yourself out. Back up onto your flat feet on your bum. Grab one block, place it long ways between your hands. Squeeze the block as you lower down your sacrum and your middle back. Your shoulders stay off the mat and extend your arms overhead. Then pull your arms back. Try to touch your knees with the block. Extend and block to knees. Arms overhead and back to the knees. Keep your upper body lifted by pulling your ribs down towards your hip bones. Leave your arms extended this time. Hold it there. Keep lifting your upper body and your shoulders off the floor as much as you can. Pull your knees into your chest and your block on top of your knees. Then extend your arms and legs back out. Make a little ball, pulling into the chest and extending out. The lower your legs go here, the more difficult this is. Only go as low as you can maintain your lower back flat on the mat. If it starts to arch, lift your legs up more. Again, make a ball. Extend and lengthen, holding it there. Make a ball, hug your knees to your chest, and then release your upper body down onto the mat. But keep pulling those knees into the chest. Taking a breather. Grab your block in both hands, reach your arms over your head, and try to set the block down on the floor. Keep your lower back flat on the mat by hugging your knees into your chest, using your core to pull those knees into your chest, and keep your arms extended overhead. Now extend your right leg up, Extend your left leg up, point your toes, and try to make your legs as long and as straight as possible. Keep pulling your thighs to your belly by engaging your belly, and see if you can get a little lift off through your hips to come off the mat. It might just be very slight. Then release. Now pull your thighs back into your chest, lift the hips, and release. It's not going to be a big lift. Pull the thighs into the chest. Imagine you could send your feet back behind you to tap the floor, squeezing, and then release it out. Again, pull the thighs into the chest. If your legs are bent, that's okay. Just try to find that connection of thigh to chest by engaging your core muscles to lift the hips and create that compression. Then bend your legs. Move your block back on top of your legs so you can hug your knees to your chest. Take a breather. You can rock side to side even to massage out your spine a little bit here. We've got a few more exercises to do and then we're done. We're really firing up that core today. It might be sore tomorrow, but that would be a great thing. Lift your hands back up over your head. Extend your right leg up towards the block and your left leg down towards the floor. If you can, lift your chest up off the floor and then do scissor kicks with your legs, pulling with your belly to try to get your leg to tap your block. Keep your toes pointed. Even if your legs are bent, keep engaging your belly. Make sure your lower back is staying flat on the mat. Switching back and forth, reaching the legs long as possible. And make the belly have to pull the leg to try and tap the block. Keep your leg up, but lower your arms down towards the floor. Change legs, reach up with your hands to try to tap the block to your foot, and then extend your arms back down to the floor. Switch legs. Lift up, try to tap the block to the foot, extend the arms overhead, reach back up, tap the block to the foot, change legs. Block to foot, extend, lift back up, tap block to foot, change legs. Arms go overhead, lower down, lift back up, tap, and change. Arms go overhead, squeeze to lift back up, change legs. Extend the arms overhead, pull yourself back up to tap the foot, and change. Lower down, lift, switch, lower down, squeeze to lift, and change. Lower down, lift, pull your rib cage up. Hug your knees to your chest, drop your upper body down to the mat. Take a breath. If your core is on fire, that's great. You may be sore tomorrow, and that's a great thing. That means you are really working and moving past your current level of strength. Now begin just to open your knees out towards your armpits and then squeeze your knees back together, opening and closing. Letting those hips relax. They did tons of work today. Now make big circles, rolling the knees away from each other and then pulling them in together, sweeping them wide and hugging them close. In and out, big circles, guiding the circles with your hands. And now change the direction of your circle, roll your hips the other way, opening and closing the knees together. Circling them out. Hug your knees to your chest. Engage your core. Use momentum to rock yourself up to your tailbone. Try not to let your feet touch. If they need to, that's okay. Come to a tabletop or a fully extended boat pose. If you're in a boat pose, you'll keep the legs straight and try to tap one leg down to the floor and then the other. Or if you're in a tabletop, just tap one toe to the floor and then the other toe. Try to squeeze back up to that V shape, the tightest V shape you can make. And as you lower down, your body can go back a little bit, but try to keep it up as high as you can as you lower one leg and pull it back in. Now squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Reach the arms forward. Cross your legs to come out of it. Hands onto the knees. And again, just rock your body right and left. Release yourself out. Reach forward onto your hands. Find your tabletop. And then press up and back to your down dog. Really opening through your chest. Find length through the legs if at all possible, reaching the heels down to touch the floor. Drop down onto your knees and sit your hips back over your heels. We'll end the movement portion of class with a headstand. Take hold of opposite elbows, reach them down to the floor. Let go of your elbows, interlock your fingers, and make a nest for your head. Your hairline will go into the nest, so it's not your full forehead or the top of your head. It's just that hairline in the nest, and your hands will be cupping the back of your head. Really protract your shoulders like we've been working on all day. With that strong push from your upper body, tuck your toes, lift your hips, try to straighten your legs, and walk your feet towards your face to feel that shift of your hips coming over your shoulders. From there, if you feel some lift, try to tuck your right leg into your chest and then your left leg into your chest. If you can get both your legs into your chest, extend your legs up to the ceiling, tucking the tailbone underneath you and squeezing your glutes. If you can't get the legs to tuck into the chest and find that float, play with either staying in that pike position and walking your feet towards your face and then walking them back out. Or you can play with tucking one foot in, extending it back down, and tucking the other foot in. Just to try to really work on finding that shift of the hips over your shoulders. If you're in a headstand, open your legs apart into a straddle, sending your hips back further than you'll probably want to try to tap your toes down to the floor, and then squeeze your glutes to lift and close the legs back together. Holding it there again, squeezing the glutes, trying to send the hip flexors flat. Bend from your hips to pull your knees back into your chest, and then extend the legs back up overhead for some additional core work. You can come out of this whenever you need to if this is too long of a hold. If you're with me, tuck the knees into the chest, pull it in, and then send the feet back up to the ceiling, straightening the legs. Squeezing the glutes. Again, don't bend the knees behind you. Send them down in towards your chest. Find that nice tuck. And then lengthen out of the tuck to come back up. You can come out of that pose the same way by bending the knees, or you can do a pike down by sending your hips back, keeping your legs straight, and finding that compression of pulling your thighs to your belly as you slowly lower those straight legs down to the floor. Then you'll bend your knees, send your hips back over your heels, and come into a child's pose. Relax in your child's pose, allowing your back to round and release. And just taking big inhales and exhales. We'll start to calm down now. Roll up through your spine. Plant your hands onto the mat. Lift up through your hips, find your down dog. And look forward, cross your legs underneath you to come to sit down. And come into a butterfly position. And rock side to side, lifting up one sit bone, then the other. I'll turn to face you. Just rocking it out. Allowing your hips to release. And then drop the hips down. Press your elbows into your knees. Try to reach your chest forward. Take a stretch here in butterfly. And now tuck your right leg back behind you. Push forward with your hip to stretch out your quad and your hip flexor. Those are probably going to be maybe a little sore tomorrow because they work a lot with our core. And now let's change sides. Tucking the left leg back behind you, leaning back and pressing forward with the hip to stretch out that front body. When you work your core and do a lot of those lifting with the legs like we did today, your hip flexors are going to do a lot of work. Plant your feet flat, windshield wiper your legs side to side. Again, just trying to find some release. Come into a comfortable cross-legged position. Begin to shift your ribs around over to the left, back, and around, circling them out nice and big and full, but smooth and easy. Again, this is just our cool down.
One more big circle. Change your direction and start over and circle them around to the right. Ribs go side, front, side, and back. Really drawing them all the way around the entire circle. Allowing your back and your front body to open and to stretch. Finish your last one and come back to center. And you have the option to stay seated in a cross-legged position, either on a block or just sitting on the mat like I am for our last little bit where we do some relaxation and some rest. Or you're welcome to lay all the way on your back in a shavasana like we normally do. Wherever you're at, just find that stillness, that relaxation through your body and through your mind. Allowing yourself to be in a place of peace. And when it's time to come back and wake up, I'll call you back in. If you're on the floor, begin to roll onto your side and push yourself up into a seated position. Crossing your legs comfortably and placing your hands onto your knees, lengthening through your spine and out through the top of your head. We'll finish class like we normally do with our 5 rounds of balanced breath, inhaling to a count of 4 through the nose and exhaling out to a count of 4 through the nose. Together we inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time, inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Now repeat in your mind, may these practices bring strength and healing to my body, my life, and my mind. May these practices bring strength and healing to my body, my life, and my mind. You can place your hands together in prayer over your heart. Bow your head down. Thank you so much for joining me on this core building class. It's a lot of hard work, and I'm proud of you for making it through the class. And I hope that you feel strong and empowered, and go and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.